Welcome to The Explainer. Today we are tackling a big one, something that causes so much confusion. Sugar. Is it all bad for you? Is some of it okay? We're going to get to the bottom of the difference between the sugar in your soda and the sugar in your apple. Yeah, that's really the big question, isn't it? We're going to put two very different kinds of sugar head to head and see if we can finally settle the score. Okay, first things first. To really get this, we need to properly introduce our two main contenders in this whole sugar debate. So, in one corner, we've got the heavyweight champion of processed foods, refined sugar. Think of this as sugar that's been through a factory, where it's been stripped of basically everything natural, leaving just the pure, sweet stuff behind. And where does this stuff hide? Well, pretty much everywhere. It's the sugar in your sodas, your candy, your baked goods, and it's a key ingredient in so many processed foods that line our supermarket shelves. It's kind of hard to avoid. And in the other corner, we have fruit sugar, which you might know as fructose. This is nature's candy, right? The sweetness you taste in a perfectly ripe piece of fruit. But here's where it gets interesting. The sugar in high fructose corn syrup is also fructose. So what gives? Well, it all comes down to the packaging. See, this is the key difference. Fruit sugar never shows up to the party alone. It brings its whole crew with it. Essential vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and a really important bodyguard that we're going to talk more about, fiber. This natural packaging, it changes everything about how your body handles it. All right, time for the main events. Let's put these two side by side in a direct, 3-round comparison to see how they really impact your body. Round 1, nutrient content. And honestly, it's a knockout. Refined sugar brings nothing to the table but what we call empty calories. You get the energy, sure, but zero nutritional benefits. Fruit sugar, on the other hand, comes with that whole team of micronutrients, like vitamin C for your immune system or potassium for heart health. Okay, on to round 2, how your blood sugar reacts. Refined sugar hits your system like a freight train. It's absorbed super fast, causing that huge spike in blood sugar, which is always followed by that awful crash. But with fruit, that fiber we mentioned acts like a traffic cop. It actually forms a gel-like substance in your gut that slows everything down. The result? A much more gradual, stable release of energy. No spike, no crash. And in our final round, we're looking at the long-term effects, and this is where the difference is just stark. A diet high in refined sugar is consistently linked to some serious problems, like weight gain and insulin resistance. Meanwhile, a diet rich in whole fruits, it's associated with better metabolic health and a lower risk of those very same diseases. So, after that pretty decisive showdown, the verdict is in. But the big question is, okay, what do we actually do with this information in our day-to-day lives? It really comes down to 3 simple steps. First, just try to limit refined sugar. Be more conscious of it in processed foods and sugary drinks. Second, embrace whole fruits. And remember, eat the apple, don't just drink the juice. And third, try to practice mindful eating. Pay attention to portion sizes and listen to what your body is actually telling you. And this highlights a really critical point. Context is everything. Even when we're talking about fruit, the whole fruit is always the champion. Why? Because juices and dried fruits often have that beneficial fiber stripped away, and sometimes, believe it or not, they even have refined sugars added right back in. So, what's the final word on all this? Let's boil everything we've talked about down to one simple, powerful takeaway for you to remember. Look, the goal isn't to live a life with absolutely no sweetness in it. For most of us, that's just not realistic. The real goal is to be informed. It's about understanding where your sugar is coming from and choosing the option that's packaged with fiber, vitamins, and minerals as often as you can. And that really leaves us with one last thought. Now that you know exactly how your body processes these 2 types of sugar so differently, the next time a craving hits, what are you going to reach for? Thanks for tuning in.